Welcome to my channel, Civilian.
Desire, when it stems from the heart and spirit, when it is pure and intense, possesses awesome electromagnetic energy. This energy is released into the ether each night, as the mind falls into the sleep state. Each morning it returns to the conscious state reinforced with the cosmic currents. That which has been imaged will surely and certainly be manifested. You can rely, young man, upon this ageless promise as surely as you can rely upon the eternally unbroken promise of sunrise and of spring. What makes life in Indian organizations difficult is the widespread prevalence of this very contemptuous pride. It stops us from listening to our juniors, subordinates and people down the line. You cannot expect a person to deliver results if you humiliate him, nor can you expect him to be creative if you abuse him or despise him. The line between firmness and harshness, between strong leadership and bullying, between discipline and vindictiveness is very fine, but it has to be drawn. Indians have been both afflicted and enriched by centuries of migrations. Loyalty to different rulers has dulled our capacity for a single allegiance. Instead, we have developed an extraordinary ability to be compassionate and cruel, sensitive and callous, deep and fickle, all at the same time. To the untrained eye, we may appear colorful and picturesque. To the critical eye, we are but shoddy imitations of our various masters. When a person looks at himself, he is likely to misjudge what he finds. He sees only his intentions. Most people have good intentions and hence conclude that whatever they are doing is good. It is difficult for an individual to objectively judge his actions, which may be, and often are, contradictory to his good intentions. My impression of the American people can be summarized by a quotation from Benjamin Franklin, "Those things that hurt instruct." I realize that people in this part of the world meet their problems head-on. They attempt to get out of them rather than suffer them. If you fail, never give up because FAIL means first attempt in learning, and is not the end. If fact END means effort never dies, if you get no as an answer, remember a no means next opportunity. So let's be positive. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam of Feel Life. The line between firmness and harshness, between strong leadership and bullying, between discipline and vindictiveness is very fine, but it has to be drawn. Unfortunately, the only line prominently drawn in our country today is between the heroes and the zeros. On one side are a few hundred heroes keeping 950 million people down on the other side. This situation has to be changed. The tree of technology management takes root only if there is the self-actualization of needs, renewal, interdependence, and natural flow. The growth patterns are characteristic of the evolution process, which means that things move in a combination of slow change and sudden transformation. Each transformation causes either a leap into a new, more complex level or a devastating crash to some earlier level. Dominant models reach a certain peak of success when they turn troublesome, and the rate of change always accelerates. To live only for some unknown future is superficial. It is like climbing a mountain to reach the peak without experiencing its sides. The sides of the mountain sustain life, not the peak. This is where things grow, experience is gained, and technologies are mastered. The importance of the peak lies only in the fact that it defines the sides. So I went on towards the top, but always experiencing the sides. I had a long way to go but I was in no hurry. I went in little steps, just one step after another, but each step towards the top. My story, the story of the son of Jainulabdeen, who lived for over 100 years on Mosque Street in Rameswaram Island and died there. The story of a lad who sold newspapers to help his brother, the story of a pupil reared by Shiva Subramania Iyer and Diadurai Solomon, the story of a student taught by teachers like Pandalai, the story of an engineer spotted by MGK Menon and groomed by the legendary Professor Sarabhai, the story of a scientist tested by failures and setbacks, the story of a leader supported by a large team of brilliant and dedicated professionals. This story will end with me, for I have no belongings in the worldly sense. I have acquired nothing, built nothing, possess nothing, no family, sons, daughters. Within the mind are all the resources required for successful living. Ideas are present in the consciousness, which when released and given scope to grow and take shape, can lead to successful events. God, our Creator, has stored within our minds and personalities, great potential strength and ability. Prayer helps us to tap and develop these powers. To live only for some unknown future is superficial. It is like climbing a mountain to reach the peak without experiencing its sides. The sides of the mountain sustain life, not the peak. This is where things grow, experience is gained, and technologies are mastered. The importance of the peak lies only in the fact that it defines the sides. So I went on towards the top, but always experiencing the sides. I had a long way to go, but I was in no hurry. I went in little steps, just one step after another, but each step towards the top. Bread baked without love is a bitter bread that feeds but half a man's hunger. Those who cannot work with their hearts achieve but a hollow, half-hearted success that breeds bitterness all around. If you are a writer who would secretly prefer to be a lawyer or a doctor, your written words will feed but half the hunger of your readers. If you are a teacher who would rather be a businessman, your instructions will meet but half the need for knowledge of your students. If you are a scientist who hates science, your performance will satisfy but half the needs of your mission. I strongly believe that teachers need to tell students about great lives and make children understand their history and heritage. It is only through this that a love for the country is born that is based on knowledge and understanding. This is how children not only know what is good and what is evil but also learn to judge for themselves the distinction between the two. They then know the best way to behave in many situations. These lessons can form the moral core around which our personalities are formed, something that no one can take away from us however old we get. Have you ever stood before a shelf of books that stretches from the floor to the ceiling, looking at the names on the spines of the books, running your hands over them, sometimes squatting down on the floor to look carefully at the books kept on the bottom shelf, and then bringing over a stepladder or stool to climb up and see the books that have been kept high up? Finding the copies of books I was searching for, or bringing down a dusty copy of a forgotten book that no one had issued in many years and taking it away with me to read was a thrilling new experience. Till today I read all kinds of books. Many authors send me their books just to hear what I will say, and I have come across so many interesting new voices in this way.
Which course did you like best? Subscribe our channel, like, comment. See you in the next video. Take care.